Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Saddleback webinar this week. I'm Liz Mangus, Literacy Specialist with Saddleback Educational Publishing. Guess what? Carly Spina is here. I know you've been waiting for this. She is here. We're going to bring her in a moment. But while you are starting to sign in, I just wanted to take this opportunity to remind you of how you can interact with us today. This is going to be a very engaging session. We want you to be able to chat with us today. So please locate your control bar. That's where you're going to find your chat area and your Q&A area. Now, a couple of things about the chat. Number one, this is where you will find links to your certificate of attendance and any handouts and resources we are going to provide for you today. The chat is also where you can talk to us and you can talk to each other, but please make sure that before you hit send on that chat, you select from the drop-down all panelists and attendees. Zoom webinar is a little bit, it's got this weird thing where you have to actually go in and change it to all panelists and attendees so everybody can see what it is you have to say. We'll get a chance to practice that in just a minute. So just keep that in mind, and you may hear me say that a couple more times, but that's just a gentle reminder because we want to hear from you. We want everybody to see what you have to say. Now, the question area is obviously for your questions, either for Saddleback or for Carly Spina today. So if you put them in the question area, that will allow us to get to those a little bit more efficiently. Now, of course, we are on Twitter. And by we, I mean Saddleback and Carly. Of course, many of you know Carly is very active on Twitter. This session, by the way, is very beautiful. Her slides are beautiful, very photo worthy. Have that phone ready and very screenshot worthy images you're going to see today. So you will have a great opportunity to share with everybody all of these tools and ideas that Carly is presenting today. And we want you to do that on Twitter. We want you to carry forward this conversation that we're going to have and really share it with your network. We'll get started right at 3 o'clock Eastern time. Let's bring in Carly. I know many of you have been waiting for this session. Carly, welcome. How are you today?
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited. It's Thursday. We get some time together. This is our time to party.
That's right.
So
Yes. Who doesn't love a party in the middle of the workday?
excited. We all need it. We've earned it this week, haven't we?
Yes. All right. Now let's practice that chat, everybody. We always want to know where you are joining us from. So now is a great opportunity for you to go to your chat box, choose all panelists and attendees, type in where you're joining us from, and go ahead and hit send. Let's see who's here. All right. We've got California, Charlotte, North Carolina, Texas, of course. All right. Maryland, Pittsburgh, Bloomington, upstate New York. Hi, Natalia. New Jersey, Pflugerville. All right. Our Canadian friends are here. We love it. Ontario's in the house. Alberta's in the house. Jupiter, Florida. Oh my gosh, I love this.
This
All
is
right. Make sure you
exciting.
choose all panelists and attendees from the chat area so that we've got this like chat waterfall happening right now. So it's really great to see everybody joining us. Houston, San Antonio. Excellent. All right. I'm going to say it one more time, and this will be the last time. Whenever you want to chat with us today, make sure you select all panelists and attendees so everybody can see your thoughts and ideas. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We are just about ready to get started. So did everybody tweet? I'm going to give you 2 more seconds to tweet. 1, 2. Okay. All right, let's officially get started. Our topic today is student engagement. And I feel like we're always addressing student engagement in one form or another, but this has become particularly challenging with our students who are learning from a distance or learning remotely. And especially if we're teaching English learners, how do we develop those oral language skills if they're not in front of us? How do we like increase that comfort level, increase that interest level to try to encourage that oral language development? So Carly is here to share some really cool ideas. If you don't know Carly, well, I'm sure many of you already know Carly, but in case you don't, so she has 15 years of experience in multilingual education, including her service as an EL teacher, a third grade bilingual teacher, and a district-wide EL bilingual and dual language instructional coach. So she is currently serving 8 schools in a linguistically rich community of over 60 languages and over 800 active English learners. She's an active member of the EL bilingual community on social media, and she enjoys networking and growing with teachers and leaders across the country. She is currently, did you all know this? She is currently working on her first book with EduMatch Publishing. What? Like, tell us about this book. What is it? And when are we going to see it?
Oh my goodness, this is a labor of love. I'm so excited about this. I've been working on it for about a year now. So hopefully I'm in the kind of revision and focus group stage right now. But this book is really going to help us think about our practices as we serve multilingual learners and our families and our community, and really thinking how we can take our practice beyond what we're doing right now. How can we take it up to that next level? So I am super excited. Hopefully by this summer, it will be available on Amazon, and I cannot wait to share it with all of you.
That's really exciting. Congratulations. And
Thank you.
I'll be first in line to buy it, of
Oh,
course.
thank you so much.
All right. And Allison Newton says everyone needs to follow Carly on Twitter. I agree. At Mrs. Spina's class, everybody. Here, before I turn it over to you, let's go back. Right there. Do it
Oh.
now.
Allison,
Right.
thank you so much, my friend.
Okay. Well, we want to stay on schedule, so I'm going to be quiet. Carly, thank you for being here, and I'm going to let you take it from here.
Wonderful. Hey, Jody. Oh, look at all of these wonderful folks in the chat. I'm so excited to be with all of you. I'm going to go ahead and get my screen set up to share. And just give me one moment to get everything kind of all aligned, just like I would like it. So this is like what we do with our students, isn't it? Like, give me a second, guys. I'm going to share my screen. Okay.
Looks good, Carly. It's looking good.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so today, again, this is our time to party. It's Thursday. It's Friday Eve, you guys. This is wonderful. We've gotten through the work week thus far. We have just tomorrow, but this is a really wonderful time. And I have to give everyone here a shout out because you are here in the midst of a work week, in February. February is a hard month during the school year, isn't it? It's like all the stress kind of piles up. There's been a lot happening in the world. There's been a lot happening in our classrooms. So the fact that you are here, it just brings me so much joy. And I just appreciate your time today. And again, I hope that we can just have some time together to party. Let's try out some fun things together. So thank you guys for joining me today. Thank you to Saddleback and for Liz for organizing this learning experience. I have been such a fangirl of all of Saddleback's webinars. They've been absolutely outstanding, and I'm so honored to be joining you guys today. So today we're going to be talking about student engagement and oral language via distance learning. So again, this is where you can find me on Twitter. I love going online and just connecting and learning and growing with all of you. My name is Carly Spina. My pronouns are she and her. And yeah, and that's where you can find me on Twitter online. Let's follow each other and be besties. Today's objectives, the two kind of things that we're really going to focus on once again is we're going to explore what engagement means and also what it could look like, and then we're also going to learn some ways to engage students with that oral language opportunity piece, right? Like that's a part that I am continuing to like grow and try things out as a practitioner. I'm supporting students. I am a district instructional coach, but this year, because this is such a unique year, I am overjoyed to be working with students. So love. It's great to be with kids, right? It's the best part of the job. So some norms for our time together today. Go ahead, take screenshots. You guys can share those. I'm not like worried about. Please take screenshots. Grab a notebook and a pen. I know a lot of us are really getting into sketchnoting. So I'm trying my hand at that. That's like a craft I'm still trying to work on, get better at. But I do love like, you know, a good set of fun pens to write with. So grab a notebook and pen. You may want your cell phone handy today. It's not required, but we are going to show a few QR codes on the screen. You don't have to download any app or anything like that. But if you have it handy, great. If you don't, totally fine. And then again, post online and build your network. So anytime I register for a webinar, this is like my secret, my go-to secret. I will always like search the hashtag after I watch whoever's presenting, because I want to connect with other people who attended the same thing. So if you guys use the hashtag today, hashtag Saddleback Webinar, and then at the end of this, search the hashtag and then literally just go through and follow everybody. And that's a great way for us to build our network and to stay connected with each other, because we need each other. And that, again, I would love to just continue learning and growing alongside all of you guys for the rest of the school year and beyond. So let's get rolling. I'm so pumped. So let's talk a little bit about student engagement. Okay, so let's think about this through two different lenses. Number one, what does this even mean? What does this mean? And then number two, how does this look in remote learning settings? So I'm going to hit you with a hot topic. I'm going to hit you with a hot topic right now. This idea of screens on. There are so many of us who are having a lot of strong conversations about this in our schools and in our districts. It's been a hot topic in our field since March of 2020, right? Of last year. I want us to really consider by demanding that our learners have their screens on at all times, we have to be really conscientious of how at some points this can really be equivalent to like entering our students' living rooms like unannounced, right? So while yes, there are things that we can do, right? Like we can offer our students the choice to have like their own virtual background, but we also really need to respect that our students have privacy needs, right? Many of our students are super introverted or just generally having their cameras on, not only for their teacher, but also for like everyone else in their classroom. And I don't know about you, but there are some corners of my home that are really not like camera ready, if you know what I mean. Like I don't clean every day. And if I post something on social media of like, I don't know, like my new coffee cup or something, I will be the person who like shoves the mess like out of the way so it's out of the shot, so it looks like I just have a really clean home. No, that's not the case. So again, I'm thinking about it through my lens as an adult. So again, there are certain rooms of my home that I don't I don't do work with students in because I don't want that to be broadcasted, right? So anyway, we can work to create positive and warm learning environments that kind of create this feeling of comfort and safety, but we can't expect that everyone will be there on day 1 or even day 41 or even day 101. So we really want to examine the purpose of this mandate or rule if it is in our systems, and we need to analyze whose needs are being met through this practice and whose needs are even being prioritized through this practice. And I don't love teaching to blank screens. I really don't. But I do love for my students to feel safe and comfortable while we're working together, you know? So I want you to consider if the only way, keyword is only, if the only way to check whether or not students are engaged in learning is whether or not their screens are on, we may be missing a lot of opportunities. So I want us to consider that. If that is a hot topic in your district, I want us to think about that. So we can always maintain high expectations of our students, right? In fact, we absolutely should. Our multilingual learners are amazing. They are so intelligent. They have wonderful linguistic assets and gifts. So, yes, we want to maintain high expectations, but we can also do so with compassion, right? As we serve. So, I want to ask you, are your students engaged? See what I did there? Obviously, the word engaged It can mean lots of different things. So here's a nice little engagement ring. Isn't that pretty? So is your student engaged? So let's take a look at this old classroom photo. This is from like the 1950s. Are these students engaged? Hmm, how can you tell? Or maybe this is just like a photo that, I don't know, like a newspaper like reporter came in and said, okay, students, all raise your hands. I'm going to take a picture with everyone's hands up, right? But how many of us or how many of our administrators look at this photo as like a celebration? Like, yes, kids are engaged. Look, they're all in rows. They're all facing the front of the classroom. Everyone's hands are up, right? So, again, are they really engaged? Maybe it's just a photo op. How about this photo here? Are these students engaged? So this is a photo of like a cooperative learning activity taking place. So we could look at each of the little faces that are here in this photo and we could ask ourselves, are these students engaged? And how do we know? Now let's talk about these students. Are these students engaged? You may have a student or two, or maybe even 12, or maybe 24 that look like this, right? Are these students engaged? How do you know? How can you really be sure, right? So what I want us to do in this moment, we're going to get ready to do a waterfall activity. Many of you have done a waterfall before, but if you haven't yet, I'm going to explain what this is. I first heard of this from Diane Sweeney. Um, and again, many of you probably use this strategy. I love to do this right before, if I'm planning a lesson, right before I send students into breakout rooms to talk with each other. I love a good waterfall. So this is a wonderful, like low stakes opportunity for students to share their thinking with like a lowered affective filter. So to do this, you'll be given a prompt. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to have you think about it. And you'll start writing your answer in the chat, but you don't hit submit or the return button. Don't hit submit yet until I tell you. And I'm going to give everyone about 30 seconds to answer this question. Okay. So get ready for our waterfall. So don't type yet or don't hit anything yet. So the question for us to think about together today is, how do you define student engagement? So I gave you a few sentence starters. If you would like to use one of these, you can, or feel free to make your own. So the sentence starters that I have for you today are, to me, student engagement is, or for me, student engagement is about, or student engagement means, okay. So I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment. That way I can kind of see. So I am going to give like 30 seconds. Go ahead and start typing your answers. What do you think? How do you define student engagement? About 20 more seconds. Think about student engagement. Don't hit enter yet. Hold on to your answer. Sometimes if I have students who are waiting, they already typed it all out, but they're waiting. Sometimes I'll have them come on the screen and go like this, like, oh, my finger's ready to hit the go button, right? So sometimes I'll have students do this or do a little dance when they're ready, whatever your style is, right? All right, about 10 more seconds. Hopefully you're finishing your thoughts about what student engagement is to you. All right, get ready, friends. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Waterfall! Look at all the answers! Oh, that's so fantastic. And everyone's using panelists and attendees so we can all see our answers. So what's beautiful about the waterfall, right, is I can see everyone's answers and so can everyone else, but it's not like I'm not going to stop and single anybody out, right? So students aren't going to be doing that either. Students aren't going to be like, oh, I wonder what she said. Let me go find her name. They're not really going to have time to. But for me, as the facilitator of learning, right, I can say, oh, I noticed that somebody said to me, student engagement is active. Great answer. So I can call out individual answers and I can kind of see some themes that are coming out. So for our learning today, active communicating, I see students actively working and participating, active in conversations, using their brains to learn something to a deeper level, demonstrating a key point, active participation. This is beautiful. Oh, someone said, when the child is connecting with what I'm teaching and what we're sharing with each other. Oh, these are beautiful, beautiful answers. So I see a lot of similarities between our answers, but there's also a little bit of differences, and they might be small differences, but check it out. Kind of take a minute and scroll through because you might be noticing, hmm, we do have slightly different definitions. Isn't that interesting? So we really do need to define engagement. We need to define it, right? As teachers, as facilitators of learning. Our students also need to define it, right? If we're holding the definition secret, right? How are the kids going to know that they can express their learning in the way that that makes sense to all of us, right? The families we serve also, I would love for them to define it and share their definitions with me. And our teammates and our colleagues have to define it too. Wouldn't it be so great if we all had a common definition so that when our students are with us, and then they go to the next teacher for their next class, they all had kind of the same routines in place, right? So all of us need to really define what engagement is. So I love doing that again with students and have that co-constructed definition. So that way we're all on the same understanding of what really engagement is. So through distance learning, engagement might look like this. It might include things like attending the Zoom, right? Participating, logging in and logging out, right? Submitting work, chatting, using those emoji reaction buttons, right? Have you seen those? And sometimes I'll say, like, okay, students, especially if they all have their cameras off, I'll say, okay, give me a thumbs up emoji if you've got your notebook or whatever. But using those emoji buttons are awesome. Posting, video chats, messaging, emailing, commenting. These are all great examples of what engagement could include, right? During these days of distance learning. But really, when I think about engagement, this is what I think of. Let's get kids pumped, right? Like, let's get kids ready to party. Dave Burgess always says, like, if you could sell tickets to your lessons, would anyone buy tickets? Right. So, no, we're not going to be doing that. Right. But think about how we can take learning and just like amplify these really fun, cool, engaging experiences so that kids are like begging to come into our Zooms. Like, let me in, I'm ready. So, to do this, I wanted us to think about what are kids excitedly consuming online, right? Our students, no matter what age they are, a lot of them are online. A lot of them have a device of some sort, or they borrow their mom or dad or their guardian's phone, and they're doing stuff on their devices. So, I want you to leave a few notes in the chat. What are kids excitedly consuming online in your world? I know in my house, my kids watch a lot of YouTube. Oh, yes, they watch a lot of YouTube. Just kidding, pediatrician. We really are strict with our screen time limitations. Okay, yes, I see a lot of great answers coming in. Awesome, awesome. So, yeah, kids are online. They're consuming a lot, right? YouTube, they're looking at memes, they're watching TikTok videos, right? They're sending GIFs to each other. I watch a lot of Instagram stories. That's kind of my jam. I really love Instagram. So, maybe we could take some of those things that kids are consuming online. What if we turned those things into lessons, or maybe not turned them into lessons, but what if we pulled little pieces of those things into our lessons, into our learning? That could be pretty cool. So, how can we hook our students in these fun, innovative, engaging ways? How can we plan for instruction that isn't all teacher talk, teacher led, teacher facilitated, right? How can we get our kids really pumped for learning? So, I want to tell you guys a little story about my mama. Okay. If you see this image and you know what it is, you might be from Chicago. So my mama, she grew up in Chicago. She took public transit everywhere, just like most of us who grew up in the city. Or if you are not from the Chicago area, right? You know what it's like taking the train places, all that stuff, the bus. So my mom is one of those people that she could sit down next to somebody and have like a 15-minute, journey together with them to their destinations. And by the time those 15 minutes are up, she will know their entire life story, like entire life story. She'll know like how many kids they have and where they grew up and like the biggest obstacle they've ever overcome in their life. So I want you to think about in your life, do you know someone like that? Like they could just talk with anyone about anything at any time. If you can't think of someone, it might be you. You might be that person. So I always laugh at my mama, but she always has that ability to talk with people just at the drop of a hat, just so easily. So I want us to think, because we all know someone like that, right? Or maybe we are that person. Now I want us to think about why. Why is that? What is it about these people that make having a discussion like so easy and so comfortable? Hmm. So now I want us to think about it. Let's pretend we're in person. Okay. Let's do a little visualizing activity to get together. Let's pretend we're at an in-person PD. Okay. We're at your school building and we're having a staff meeting. Okay. So the staff meeting, we're all sitting there. We're really tired because we just worked all day and like we poured our hearts into our students today. So we're tired. So if the PD facilitator says these words, okay, guys, first we're going to start with an icebreaker. You're going to have one of two reactions. You'll have folks who are like, yeah, icebreaker, let's do this. And if there's a challenge, we're going to win the challenge. But then you'll also have the other group of folks that'll sit back and roll their eyes and be like, oh no, not an icebreaker. Right? So they might say, okay, to do this, I want you to get up, find someone you don't know well, and you're going to be partners with that person. So then you're like, oh, so you might be like making like eyes across the room, like, okay, it's obvious that I know my teacher bestie, but I'm going to work with her because I don't want to work with anyone else right now because I'm so tired. Or you might be like, all right, I'll get up and I'll play along. I'll go find someone I don't know very well. And then that third line, right? It's like one of these two things. It's either like talk about your favorite ice cream flavor, like something totally unrelated to what we're doing, or it's like now get up and share your deepest darkest secrets with them, right? Maybe they don't go that far, but maybe they even say like, you know, if you were asked to do a reading before coming to our PD today, share something that resonated with you or share like your biggest concern about this new initiative. Like you might not want to open up and share that, especially if it's like find someone you don't know very well. It might feel too personal, right, to share with them. So I want us to kind of think about now our students. If our students don't have a good relationship with each other yet, they might not feel like ready to roll, ready to have an icebreaker, or even ready to like do a reading together. So I know we say this a lot in our field, but this is so critical to visit and revisit and then visit again. Relationships matter. I am less likely to talk to you unless I feel comfortable with you. This is what a student said to me this school year. Mrs. Spina, I am less likely to talk to this person unless I feel comfortable with them. Especially if as we're thinking about that affective filter, right? We need our students to feel comfortable. They need to feel safe. So if I'm thinking again, that example of my mama sitting on the L or the icebreaker moment in the PD, I really need to be reflective about how I'm um, building and nurturing the relationships that are inside of my virtual space this year, right? And again, relationship building is not something that happens just at the beginning of the year or just at the beginning of the semester. It's something that should be nurtured every day, all year long. So it's important that we talk about that. So, to continue building relationships and reflect on our comfort with engaging in oral language with others, we need to talk about this with students and with teachers. We need to take into consideration what folks' personalities are like, even what their cultural norms are for having conversations. Like, is it even okay in everyone's cultures to have conversations with the opposite gender, right? We need to know about that. And for some, they might feel more comfortable to not have their cameras on so that they can really focus on like formulating the right words and saying it out loud to appear. Others might really need to rely on the visual cues from the person's facial expressions and their gestures to have a successful conversation, but everybody is different. So again, we have to collaboratively agree upon what a strong listener is in our different contexts. Okay. Now I'm going to have to pause the slides again because I want to talk to you guys about my listening face and my speaking face. Okay, this is so embarrassing. I am the most overactive speaker and I'm the most overactive listener. Like I comprehensible input my face, like as I speak. And you might be like me because if you are a multilingual educator, like we are TPR all day long, right? Like we're constantly moving our bodies, even more so when we're on a virtual screen, right? Because we're like overcompensating. We're making our voices louder and softer and doing this with our voices, but our whole faces are like lit up, right? Like I talk with my eyebrows, you guys, like, oh my goodness, it's crazy. And again, we laugh. My two sisters and I, we always laugh at my mama. And again, I love my mama. I love you, mama. But my mama, when I'm thinking about her on the L, I know exactly why people talk to her because her listening face is like intense. Like if I were to just not look at the speaker, if I were to just look at my mama as she's listening to a story, I could probably retell the story in my head without even hearing the story being told. So I want you guys to think about this. Okay, I'm going to listen like my mom listens to a story. Maybe the story has a little bit of drama. So watch my face. This is how I'm listening as my mom. So did you see what I did? I just told an entire story by listening. Did you see that? Like my eyebrows were going crazy, my mouth was opening and I was looking around and I was using my hands. Like no wonder we're so tired at the end of our instructional day. Our bodies are exhausted teaching online. Like, whew. How many of you comprehensible input your face? Like we do that, don't we? Okay. So again, remember when I was saying like you guys can totally screenshot? Maybe don't screenshot those facial expressions that I made. I'm just kidding. It's fine if you do. I'll laugh about it. See, I see lots of you saying in the chat, like, yep, I do that too. See, this is what we do, you guys. So funny. See, this is why I love this. You guys are my people. Like, we get it. We do this. Okay. Hopping back into our slides here. So let's talk a little bit about this idea. My lowering the affective filter. So again, this is a mindset we need to establish and nurture in our settings, right? Everyone's a learner. Everyone's an academic language learner, right? And platforms to create an opportunity for low stakes engagement. So when we were doing the waterfall, that's a great low stakes engagement opportunity. Kids are writing, right? They're listening. They might be reading a prompt on the screen and then they're writing, right? They had a minute to think first. So I gave them wait time. They had a minute to type it out and to just consider their word choices, right? And it didn't have to be perfect because no one would be able to go back and like, go through and analyze. And I'm not going to call anyone out by their name and say, oh, this person said this, unless maybe I'm doing it purposefully to like affirm their thinking, right? So, and again, if I didn't write anything yet, that's okay. The teacher's not going to call me out. I might even now have enough words based on the chat that came out. I might even be able to form a new idea based on other kids thinking, other participants thinking. So, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my daughter. So, my daughter right now, she's 9 years old. When she sweeps the floor, like we give my kids jobs to do around the house, when she sweeps the floor, she calls it brooming. Brooming. I love that language choice that she made. I can also supply her with the word sweeping, right? But I can also validate the way that she took a noun, broom, and she turned it into a verb. She said, I'm brooming. I'm like, yeah, you are brooming, right? You're sweeping. Well done. So another story, my two kids, they like to have like blinking contests, right? Which gives me such anxiety because I'm a contact lens wearer. So like if I keep my eyes open too long, like they'll dry out. Like can't do it. But anyway, so they're having a blinking contest. And so she took the verb to blink and she was trying out a few different ways of how she could like make it past tense, because she was trying to say like, oh, you did it before I did. But she took it and she was like, you blunk before I did. Right? I was like, oh yeah, blunk, right? Blinked. I blink right now. So that means a minute ago I blunk or he blunked. I love that. If I were to shame her or laugh at her or call out her mistake, even if it was just like in our car and it's just the four of us in our family, like that would cause her stress. Like she would second guess herself for anything else she said in life, right? She would just stop talking. So language exploration and development needs to feel safe. My daughter is a monolingual language learner, but I need to continue nurturing her ability to explore and develop in her language usage, right? Because that's a cool thing that we all do. So I want us to consider now interaction between these two formats, right? The synchronous learning and the asynchronous learning. So take a look at this. We've got all four language domains: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. I can do all of those synchronously and asynchronously. So if interaction implies that exchange of some sort, right, we can engage with all four domains. So I encourage you right now to take, like on a notebook, a piece of paper and draw two circles, okay? Draw two circles. One will be your S circle for synchronous. The other will be your A circle for asynchronous. And I want you to think about a few things that you're already doing. You're already doing so much of this. Call attention to it, call it out, celebrate it. You're doing the work, you guys. So think about, how are you engaging online with your students synchronously? How are you having them read, write, listen, and speak synchronously? Okay. So think about that. Take a minute, write down a few notes. While you're doing that, I'm going to grab a sip of water. So you're thinking about your synchronous learning opportunities. How are you already incorporating those four domains of language? And if you're catching the recording, you can pause the video while you're doing this. Okay. And then do the same thing for your asynchronous side. So think about, how are you getting your students reading, writing, listening, and speaking asynchronously? Lots of ideas. And again, give yourself credit, because you're doing this, you're doing this work. Give yourself the credit. You deserve it. All right. So now let's think. And if you didn't finish all your thoughts, that's okay. So if we're thinking again, that interaction implies an exchange of some sort, okay? I want us now to consider this through three different layers. The high tech, I'm going to put that in quotes, in air quotes. High tech, low tech, and no tech. And you guys see the little circles here? It kind of looks like the three little bears, doesn't it? The three little bears. They've got little ears here. No, I'm kidding. So this could be the synchronous and the asynchronous. Okay, so we can do asynchronous and synchronous work through high tech and through low tech and through no tech. Okay, so again, I want us to kind of think through these layers, and we're going to talk about these layers now. So let's start with the no tech. I want you to think about what you can do that doesn't involve a device, okay, or internet. And I want you to get your community involved. I talk a lot about leading, connecting beyond the walls of our schools and beyond the walls of our classrooms, and getting in touch with our community. This could be like your parent group, like if you have a PTA or a PTO or a different parent group. This could be your local library, a youth organization, perhaps a service organization. Think about it. You can dream so big right now. Ask for their support in organizing a book drive. Like, there are lots of folks, there are lots of good people waiting in the wings to help, but they don't know how. And as an educator, you can be that connector. You have that power. Isn't that amazing? So our kids absolutely need access to books at all levels. So like, let's get some book circles or book swaps going. Think about ways that we could take just real notebooks and have a dialogue journal system. Is there like a drop off place in different neighborhoods? That might be trickier if you live in a rural area, but if you live in an urban or a suburban area, is there like a drop point where if it's safe enough, like kids could walk and drop off in like a little library type of situation. So think about that. Phone calls, of course, that doesn't really involve a whole lot of tech, but that's listening and speaking, isn't it? Yeah. And then audiobooks with CD players. So you remember like 10 years ago when we were all writing grants for like books on tape or books on CDs, right? And we all ordered like a whole bunch of those little CD players, those little individual CD players with headphones. Like they're sitting on shelves in libraries right now. So let's call up our libraries and say, hey, do y'all still have those? Can I have them since nobody's probably checking them out anymore? And see if we can get our hands on those and distribute those to kids. Isn't that awesome? Low tech. So Zoom has some really great features. Breakout rooms for small groups and individual works. We do that a lot. We talked already about the reaction buttons that allow students to respond via emoji, right? Like talk about comprehensible input. There's a visual right there, right? Google Hangouts, threads, and text messages. Those are reading and writing, right? That's an interaction of some sort. Audio messages. There's a lot of like different apps and stuff that you can just have like a walkie-talkie type of system. So explore those. There's a lot of great stuff. Emails and Zoom features, again, really great, easy peasy for us to explore. Okay. So low tech. Now, friends, before you say, uh-oh, high tech, this is not scary. It does not make sense also for us to be like handed lists of applications and tips and strategies. We don't have time. We don't have time for that. Like we are busy bees right now, right? So what I want you to do as we go in through this next section is just to like select one, like maybe just pick one out and put it in your pocket for right now. Pick just one that might make sense for an upcoming lesson, like maybe next week. Okay, just one. Did you guys all see that story that popped up this week? I believe it was a lawyer who had a cat filter on his video and he couldn't turn it off. And he was like literally telling the judge on his Zoom chat, like, I am not a cat. I cannot turn this off. And you guys, I was giggling. I'm not laughing at him. Like I am laughing with him. Like I am the cat lawyer. Like that is who I am. I think it was earlier this school year. There was another story of I believe it was a professor who turned himself into a potato. Like, and he taught the whole class as a potato, like a talking potato. And I'm laughing again. I'm not laughing at them. I'm laughing with them because like, that's me. But again, we don't have to be experts at technology to engage our students. We don't have to try 86 tips and tricks and apps and all the things to have some fun with our kids. And again, don't feel like you have to be Regina George's mom. You know, in Mean Girls, where Regina George, she's like the super rich girl in high school, and her mom is like in this like pink velour jumpsuit, which I love because I love pink and I love some good activewear right now, you know? I love some good loungewear. But anyway, we don't have to be Regina George's mom, where she walks around saying, like, oh, I'm not like the other moms. I'm the cool mom, right? Like, we don't have to do that. We don't have to be the cool teacher, the hip teacher. We're already young and hip, you guys. Like, we already got that. No matter how old we are, right? We are already very hip teachers. Like, we're here partying together on a Thursday, right? So we don't have to do that. We don't have to be that. We don't have to pretend to be anything, but we just want to try some of these things out. That's really all we want to do. We want to try some of these things out. Okay, so these are a few things that we're going to look at today. Okay, so the first one is Flipgrid. And to do this is going to get a little bit messier because I'm going to be moving my stuff around on the screen. So thank you for your patience. If we had like some fun waiting music, I could share that. Wouldn't that be fun? Then it would really be a party. So most of us know about Flipgrid, and I hope that your school district is a really cool school district where they say like, yeah, Flipgrid, go for it. If you guys have this website up, you can totally go here and use this. This is like a teacher practice one. So this is not one that I would say share with your students. But if you go to flipgrid.com/SciUp3, I set up a Flipgrid for us to practice. And this is one that I set up. And again, there's like so many different applications how we could use this with our students. This is a great asynchronous activity. So here is my video. And in this particular Flipgrid that I have set up, it's me saying like, teach me how to say your name. My name is Carly. Carly. My last name is Spina. Spina. My name is Carly Spina. Teach me your name. So again, this is a really great opportunity for us to connect with our teachers that we're serving and supporting and we're teammates with, and give them an opportunity to hear the correct pronunciation of our students' names. Like, oh, how cool. But again, you would just click here, click record a response. It'll count you down 3, 2, 1, and then record. And you could do this as many times as you want to make your video feel good and safe before you post it. And then whoever has that link would be able to see that Flipgrid. So they'd be able to see your response. They would be able to comment. So you see here, no one's commented on my response yet. So I would love if you guys logged in later and you guys teach me how to pronounce your names, because we're all Twitter besties, aren't we? So yes, please go ahead. You guys can use this as a space to practice. Even if it's you just going in and be like, wait, am I doing it? Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Go ahead and do that. This is a safe space. This is our play practice, right? Like we're just going to try it out. So Flipgrid, again, is another wonderful, wonderful tool that I absolutely love. So again, I mentioned earlier in the presentation that your QR code. So let me stop for a sec. You can use your cell phone. You don't have to download an app. Like I think 10 years ago, no, not 10 years ago. That was like Zach Morris phones, wasn't it? You used to have to download like a QR reader, but now if you just go to your camera, so if I go to my camera and I turn on my camera and I just go to like literally my camera and hold it up and I just hover over that little code, it'll say like, okay, go to this website, and you just click on it and then it'll take you to that website on your device. So that's kind of cool. So I'm going to go back into my slides, but QR codes are super duper fun. Okay, so let's try this one now. So I have an answer garden for us to do. I believe, I think we have someone who can drop that into the chat for us from Saddleback. Thank you very much. But if not, you can try that thing with your cell phone right now if you have it handy. And you can hover over the QR code that's there. Otherwise, you can type it into your browser. Okay, but I'm going to go over to the answer garden right now because I'm going to try this with you guys. Answer Garden is super, super cool because I can set it up as a teacher in lots of different ways. So what I have right here at the top for us, and again, there's the website address. If you want to go in and add to it, you absolutely can. So our prompt for us today is describe your multilingual students in one word. So take a look at answers that have already come in. People are saying that our multilingual students are heroic, determined, hardworking, innovative, brilliant, inspiring, amazing, resilient. Perseverance was mentioned. Awesome, smart, interesting, courageous. Look at these beautiful words to describe the students we serve, you guys. Doesn't this just fill your bucket right now? We are so lucky. We work with the best kids, you guys. So I'm going to hit the refresh button once so it can regenerate. And you'll notice, if you haven't used an answer garden before, you'll notice that there are certain words that are larger, right, than other words. And that's because it was said multiple times by multiple users, multiple participants. This is a great low stakes opportunity for us to collect word choices. And again, for students who need an extra minute of think time, they can already see all these great ideas that other students have shared. And so it might do one of two things. It could give them some word choices, like, oh, it's almost like a word bank, right? Or it could affirm their thinking, like, oh, I was going to say resilient, but I wasn't sure if that was the right word. But yes, somebody said resilient, so I'm on the right track. So I'm going to type that word in. So again, it's really cool in that way. And then, friends, as we transition back into our classrooms, like if we're going to hybrid or whatever, you notice that people call it hybrid instead of hybrid. Isn't that funny? Anyway, I digress. If you go down here, if you click this button here, it'll literally spit out a QR code for you. So this is really cool. So let me tell you about this. So I could print this and I could pop it on my classroom wall. And so let's say if I was like having students, if we were doing like a novel study and we were saying like, let's do some character analysis, like describe the character in chapter 1. And then people are like popping in all these answers about character Stephanie, right? And they're writing down words to describe Stephanie. And then at the end of the book, right? Like, okay, friends, now we're back in person. Here's the QR code. I want you now to say how Stephanie has grown throughout our unit, right? Or throughout this novel. What are words that you would use now to describe Stephanie, right? So this tool is super duper fun, super cool. I love a good answer garden. So yeah, that's another great tool for us to try out. Okay, so Kahoot. Kahoot, the code that's here, I'm not going to go into Kahoot, but the code that you see here on this screen is from Carol Salva's PD that she did for Kahoot, for the company last summer or maybe last May. It's on YouTube. So if you go to the Kahoot YouTube channel and then you search Carol Salva, like she is amazing, number one. But number two, she really walks through ways, like powerful ways for us to use Kahoot for multilingual learners. Really amazing features. You can use images, multiple choice options, true, false, sequencing activities, and it's like gamifying our learning, right? So fun. And it's also available in Spanish. Woohoo! So exciting. So Kahoot is a really awesome, awesome thing for us to try and do. And also QR codes, right? Who doesn't like scanning stuff? I love scanning stuff. When I was a kid, I used to pretend I worked at a grocery store. Like when I was playing with my toys when I was like 5, I'd go beep, beep, beep. Like that's how I played. Did anyone else do that or is it just me? I don't know. But QR codes, kids love scanning stuff. It feels like a mystery. It feels really cool. Let me show you guys qrstuff.com. There's a bunch of these different QR code generators, but they're really easy to use. And you can embed like pretty much anything. So I'm going to show you guys what this one looks like. Again, this is qrstuff.com. Get your QR codes out there. So you could type in a website, you could type in like almost anything, like a YouTube link. So you could like pick which one of these you're doing. If you're doing a website, you literally just drop it in here. So let's see, there was my answer garden. So watch what I do. You might have caught it. It changed up here, but if I hit the enter button, I could say no thanks. I don't want to pay for anything. Thank you. Down here, it downloaded my QR code. And it's literally that easy. Now I can take that, I can drag it onto my desktop, I can put it into some slides, I can print it on paper for kids. It's just so fun and it's really easy to do, isn't it? So super, super fun. QR codes, qrstuff.com, super fun. All right. So I want us to think a little bit about this. So this is a quote by Adam Welcome, and he has authored many books. He wrote Kids Deserve It, which is one of my favorites. He recently co-authored Teachers Deserve It. Highly recommend. He published that with Ray Hewart. Awesome book. And Teachers Deserve all the goodness in the world. But he said, our kids need to be creators, not consumers. So remember at the beginning of our chat today, or the beginning of our time together, we started to list out all these different things that kids are like excitedly consuming as kids, right? What are they consuming online? So if Adam Welcome is saying our kids need to be creators, not consumers, let's think about this. Imagine all the productive language possibilities our kids could have if we take what they love, what they're excited about, and give them the platform to create, right? Let's talk about this, some meme generators. So again, you can scan it with your phone, or you could use one of these websites. There's a lot that are out there. Sometimes I would say like maybe just hand the kids an image, show them a few examples of what you see online, and then go from there. But there's so many things that you can do as the teacher to show. Let me move this down a little bit. To incorporate some humor, right? Let's see, and they're in Spanish. Lots and lots of silly ones. But again, really easy ways for us. I'm going to go out of this because I think some of them might be inappropriate, even for us as learners. But we can take memes and add some text to them and generate a meme in just a few clicks. Super easy. And then again, we can toss them into slides. I can send them to students on our Google Hangouts chat to tell them like, no, don't come to, our class without, using the bathroom first or whatever I want to say. But super fun and so easy to do. And there's a lot of them out there. So 2 of them are listed there. There is also a Gif Generator. Have you guys seen this? This is like my new favorite thing. I have to give Esther Park a shout out because I first learned about this from her online. She is outstanding. Like, she is amazing. If you ever get a chance to go see her, like watch her content, like please do. She is outstanding. So this would be a really cool way for us to embed TPR into asynchronous virtual lessons. This is also a great way for us to just like build relationships, right? And show students your fun side. And I, again, love this as a way for students to act out vocabulary. So let me show you guys what this looks like. Okay, so if I go to the website and then I was like .co, and then I was like .co, not .com, okay? So if I go here, I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. You click this black button that says I want to make a GIF. Is it GIF or GIF? I never know. But anyway, it says warming up the camera. So now I can see myself. You guys all see me, spirit fingers. Okay, I'm going to hit the record button and it's going to count me down. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I should have showed you down here. It was kind of telling me how much time I had left. So let me review this. Whoop. Let me start over. Okay, warming up. And again, it counts me down. Okay, this time I'm going to be like, Okay, so this one I'm like, maybe keep thinking about your answer, students. Like you're on the right track. And then all I do is I click the save button. Okay, and I can save it to my desktop. There it is. I'm all done. So now I can take this and bloop, move it over to my desktop or plug it into some slides or whatever. I could also share it on social media. If you make one today, I'd love to see it. Post it on Twitter. But yes, super easy. And again, the kids could create their own GIFs, right? They could create their own GIFs, their own response. If they want to show me what the word trudging looks like, right? Instead of saying, I was walking through the snow. If you're in Chicago, you guys, we have so much snow right now, right? So we're used to trudging through the snow right now. You might act out what it looks like to trudge through snow instead of walking, right? So think about all the different ways that we could have GIFs be used. I have a ton that I just have saved in like a folder on my desktop of like affirmations, like hugs, or like a raise the roof if I'm really excited and proud of a student. And like the keep thinking one, I do a lot of that one. But again, I could create GIFs for students to talk about vocabulary, or I could have students create GIFs to explain their vocabulary. So cool. And y'all know the Frere model. Like this is a very commonly used graphic organizer that we use, right, in language acquisition, defining your word, giving examples and non-examples, some facts and characteristics, and then you put the word in the middle. What if you enhanced your Frere model with a GIF? Show that word if it works out, right? Some words don't. Or a meme, like jazz up those Frere models. All right, let's talk about TikTok, okay? What can we take from TikTok? I'm not saying, friends, everyone go download TikTok. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if our kids are using TikTok because they love it, they think it's fun, what are some things that we can take from TikTok and apply into our lessons? There is this guy here. His name is Mr. McTikTok. I mean, that's not his real name, that's his TikTok name, but he is a teacher and he uses TikTok literally just for the sake of teaching his middle school students because he knows that they're all on it, and he actually uses his account, and you'll have to check with your district and your school's like social media policies and stuff like that. So check with them first. Don't say, oh, Carly Spina said it was okay. No. follow your protocols, all that good stuff. But he has them create and reenact scenes from books, and they do a lot of different things like classroom building activities, and it's super fun and it's cool because now the parents can also follow along in their kids' learning. So neat. I know lots of teachers have like classroom Instagram accounts or closed Facebook groups, and if parents are connected on social media, that's another great way for us to invite their learning into their homes, right? Especially as we go back into in-person learning. Let's talk a little bit about unboxing videos. I am a person, this is so cringy, embarrassing. I'm sorry, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I go on Instagram a lot, and I use my Instagram not for a lot of teaching stuff. There's a lot of good stuff out there, but I use it for like puppies and like bright colors and like fashion. So I watch Insta stories of bloggers who like, you guys, I just got a PR package from, this makeup company. Look at this. And then they hold it up to the screen. Like I watch those and I find such joy in watching them open boxes from Amazon. And I'm like, oh, I need that in my life. But our kids are also doing that. They're watching kids review toys and they're watching kids review books, right? These unboxing videos. So I want you guys think about this. How can we take this idea of an unboxing video and throw it into our lessons, right? So you might have a box of some sort in your house. I know I've been doing more online shopping this past year than normal. Maybe you're like me. So if you have a cardboard box, I want you to save it and say, okay, what am I teaching next? Maybe I'm teaching a new novel. So I'm going to toss that novel into this box and I'm going to say, oh, you guys, I got this new box. Do you mind if I open it in front of you? And then the kids are going to be like, what do you got? Right? They want to know, they want to see. It's like that natural curiosity that we all have as humans, right? That's why there's always like a gaper's delay when there's a car accident, right? Like everyone wants to see what's up. So take a box, hide something in it. Like that's the way to bring realia to this digital platform, right? Like we're holding an image or we're holding a product of some sort in our hands to enhance the learning, to get the kids thinking about ways that they could do this. Maybe the kids can then take and make it their own unboxing video. Kids are watching YouTube all the time. I know my students I serve right now, a lot of them are in third grade. They'll pick up these little language patterns and they'll say, hey everyone, like if they're doing like a read aloud from their book, their chapter book, they'll say, hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, right? And then they'll start reading. It's so cute. And then at the end of their video, they'll go be like, be sure to like and subscribe. It's so cute. Do your kids do that too? So think about ways that we can take these cardboard boxes and create these awesome, cool learning experiences for our students. So my final thoughts that I can't believe it's already 3:57. Woo! Final thoughts. Trust your students. Love them hard. Celebrate them. Lift them up. Lift up their families. They need you, and friends, we need each other. Thank you so much for your time today. This was so much fun to party with you guys today. Please find me online. Again, find each other online. Use that hashtag and go back. I'm going to be following all of you guys. And then if you ever want to email and just talk and hang out online, like I'm your girl, I would love to do that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. This was amazing. We do have a couple of questions, not too many though, so we won't be too much longer. I know many of you have to like head out for dismissal and bus duty and all of that. So let's go ahead and go back here so I can let everybody know what's coming up next week. So next week we have Jody Nolf coming back. She was on with us today. I think she just had to sign off because it's dismissal time where she is. But thank you for being here, Jody. And Jody will be here next week to present. Are you a secondary content area teacher? Or do you know any secondary content area teachers who perhaps need some tips with teaching those English learners who are in their class? Let them know about this webinar, okay? No matter what content area you teach, writing should be a part of that. And if you have English learners in your class, they need to partake in that writing too. So Jody is going to come and share with us some great scaffolds and tools to help our secondary content area teachers really integrate that writing really for everybody. So you can sign up on our website, or you will receive an email prompting you to do so. And of course, don't forget, if you need your Saddleback books, Digitally, we've got you covered. If you need high-low ebooks, check out our on-demand webinar on our YouTube channel. It's just me going into it and explaining it to you and walking you through it, or give me an email or a call. I'm happy to talk to you about it. I know a lot of us need our ebooks, so we've got you covered on that. All right, let's talk about a couple of questions that came in. So these are kind of like specific situations that people were talking about, especially when it came to the cameras on, cameras off thing.
Yeah.
And this is really, I don't know that we have strong answers to this, but this is a great way to sort of crowdsource these very particular situations. One teacher has a student who suffers high anxiety when she can't see others. So it's really beneficial for this one child to be able to see everybody. But you can't force people to turn on their cameras, on the other hand. And then another teacher has a student who is a medical situation, and that student has permission to keep the camera off.
Mhm.
But then everybody sees that and they're like, what's up with that? And if they don't have to have it on, I don't have it. So no like perfect solutions, but I just thought we could take a second to talk about these specific instances and just sort of brainstorm to help these teachers out.
Yeah.
What happens when you have to have different rules for different kids in that situation?
I think that's such a powerful learning opportunity for our kids, right? And really teaching the difference between equity and equality. Like, this is a great teachable moment. And again, we don't want to like violate anyone's privacy by saying which students need what, but we might even just have that co constructed conversation, right? About like, why might I need to keep my camera off? Like, I even think about it as an adult. Like, if I'm in a staff meeting sometimes, I'm also folding laundry or I'm cleaning like I foster puppies, so sometimes I have a puppy mess I have to clean up. So I'll turn off my camera, and I'm hopeful that my colleagues will trust me that I'm still here. But I'm also attending to other things because we all have lives, right? Like our students all have lives. So again, it's like that wonderful opportunity for kids to really start developing some empathy, right? And seeing that like not everyone's home life is like mine. Not everyone's home schedules are like mine. And everybody does have different needs, and not only like needs from what's happening in here, but like I have needs to see what's happening on the screen. I want to see my classmates' faces. So I think there's a lot of different things that we can do, but I think it stems from like having that conversation, and no kid is too little to have this conversation with. So I know that that question was about early childhood. So again, like friends, we might be not in a good place right now for us to turn our cameras on. Or you could even say like, show me your ceiling, friends. And everyone holds like shows their ceilings, but they just show their eyes, like blink twice or something like that. That way kids can still get a glimpse, or like show me your happy fingers or something like that. Like we used fingers like that in cheerleading, right? When back in the day. So there's like little moments where we can kind of have that interaction, but also keep our students' privacy protected.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And if anybody has any other ideas or thoughts to share, go ahead and drop that in the chat area. This one of the beautiful things about these webinars is we can all kind of rely on each other and get ideas from each other. But thank you for that answer. And then one more question came in about QR codes. Somebody just wanted to make sure. Are you sure I can generate these codes and if I don't pay for them? Like I thought it was a thing I had to pay for. Are you sure?
Yeah, that's a
So
great question. So the one that I shared is a completely free, like they have packages that like you could like a premium package type of thing. But you don't have to do that. So if you're just literally going into like copy and paste a website, they'll try to trick you too. If like they'll say like, oh, click here for $9.99. Don't click that. Just click the download button and then you're good to go. So
oh, see, they try to trap you, but
yes,
really you
it's
can just
true.
bypass it.
Yep, yep,
So,
yep.
all right. Well, that's a good tip for people who are new to that idea of QR codes. Um, I'm sure you're seeing this, but just a lot of love and enthusiasm in the chat. People really love these ideas and have really enjoyed this conversation today. So thank you so much for joining us, Carly. And of course, we'll be back next week with Jody. Saddleback is on your favorite social media platform. So find us there, reach out to us, talk to us. We'd love to hear from you. And thank you for everything you do. We know that your job is really hard, and we really, really appreciate you taking the time to come and learn with us today. And Carly, we'll have to have you back. This was fantastic.
Oh, I
All
would
right.
love that. Thank you all so much. You guys are like all my Twitter besties. Thank you guys so much for being here. This was so much fun today.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thanks again, Carly.
Bye.
Bye.